Hello, welcome to my Strategist Marvel Rivals Season 0 tier list. Now, for those of you that have been following me, I've been doing an A to Z challenge this entire month. So I've played every single hero in Marvel Rivals competitively and to a winning degree before I can move on to the next one. So I think more than most people, I have a pretty good understanding of how each hero functions. I might not be a GM or one above all player, but I've played a lot of this game. So I think I'm in a good position to share my opinions on what I think about some of the heroes. Please note, this is very much my opinion. If you want to comment and let me know what you think, if you disagree or agree, feel free, but let's keep it nice in the comments, all right? This is just my opinion. I'm not trying to claim that I'm a pro or anything like that. So without further ado, let's start going through the heroes. So starting with Adam Warlock. Homie. Okay, I'm gonna put Adam Warlock in. I'm gonna put him in high B, low A, and I'm gonna explain my reasoning for this because I think a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on this for Adam Warlock. I'm actually gonna put him in low A. I'm gonna put him in low A. I think Adam Warlock is a very, very good healer. I think he's arguably, and well, he is the best burst healer in the game. There's no doubt about it. The problem I think with Adam Warlock is he is very cooldown reliant, obviously. You have Soul Bond, which I believe is a 30-second cooldown, and then you've got 2 charges of his, let's call it Chain Heal. I can't remember what the name is in game. Chain Link or whatever. And you get 2 charges of that. Now, if you use all of that, he has no other functionality to heal. It's not like he has a normal left-click heal like the others. So this is why I think in high elo play, so in like one above all, GM lobbies, I think he is probably S tier, actually. I think he's probably one of the best healers, and that's why you'll see him played consistently. He has insane damage output. His right click can just completely one-shot someone in the backline if you catch them off guard. Even his left click, his attack animation is clean. It's one of the arguably one of the best attack animations in my opinion. His res is obviously amazing, but we'll talk about the res in a minute. I think he is very difficult to play right, and that's why I've put him in A tier. I think in high-level lobbies, he's actually S. And I think in low-level lobbies, he's probably B tier because people just won't be able to play him properly comparatively to the other strategists, right? Because he's so cooldown reliant. I think his res is really solid, but here's my problem with it. It's very hard to get the right positioning for the res on a lot of maps and in a lot of comps. If you lose a couple of team members, if you think about how the game is played, whether it's control point or whether it's a payload map, the enemy team is going to be pushing into you, right? Because they have the advantage. This is a game about spacing and positioning. So if they've got a couple of kills, they're going to push into you to try and push you further and further away. And therefore, if you are in range to get the res, which isn't a great distance, you are probably going to get run at as you pop that res. And you don't get healed on full life. So in order to be able to reset properly, you need to have the time and somewhere hidden to pop a res and heal everybody up. So make sure you've got your E cooldowns or your soul bond in an E. Make sure everyone is healed back to even stand a chance in the following fight. Unless you have also taken out 2 or 3 of the enemy as well. So I think it's incredibly difficult to get the timing and positioning right to get the res off effectively. And if you don't, you're basically just feeding the enemy team a shit ton of ult charge, right? Which then makes your ult economy really bad. So I think that's why I think in low elo play, he's not actually that good. But in high tier, I think he is very, very good. You may disagree with me on that, but I think that's just my view on it. All right. So I tried to balance out between the different kind of skill levels here a little bit. I personally enjoyed Adam Warlock. Cloak and Dagger is goddamn S tier. Oh my god, this hero is ridiculous. I cannot believe, and bear in mind, this is a Season 0 tier list, okay? I cannot believe that they're giving them an adjustment or a buff. It's wild. So there's a couple of things about Cloak and Dagger, which is why I think they're so good. And I'm going to try and keep this video as short as possible. So I know I waffled on a lot already. I'm going to try and condense my thoughts very, very much. The bubble, I think Dagger's bubble is insane. The healing output is just absurd. And it's one of the best anti-dive tools, in my opinion, because it's so hard to burst through. She has an incredibly accurate heal, even though it's not an insane healing amount. She's got a very accurate heal attack animation. And the improved healing is also just great all around for your team, the wall, right? So on top of all of that healing utility, the shift on Cloak is amazing if you time it right. Aside from just a solo escape, I have been saved from so many Jeff ults by a really good Cloak and Dagger, just taking us all away from it. Cloak's I don't know if you guys know this. Cloak's damage is more than Scarlet Witch's damage. So obviously those two are compared quite a lot because of the way that the attack functions. Cloak does more damage than Scarlet as a strategist, which is beyond insane to me. The blind is really good. Even just for an escape tool, the blind is really good. And the ultimate is undeniably insane. You cannot... It's an anti-fun, one-stop shop ultimate. You throw that down, you are not getting killed while you stand in that ultimate. The only positive side is it's not a huge duration compared to like a Lunar or something, right? I still think it's insanely strong. Cloak and Dagger's ability to damage output and heal simultaneously is second to none. Maybe Mantis can rival it. But they have insane damage output, insane healing potential, and really good escape tools and anti-dive tools. So, you know, especially when you're playing strategist, you are going to get dove on 90% of the time, right? You are going to be the ones that people look for. So having that utility and having that escape is really important. And I think they're S tier for that reason. I think they're super, super solid. Oh, my boy, Jeff. Now, people are going to hate me for this, y'all. People are going to hate me for this, but I'm sorry, I have to do it. I think Jeff is not good. And I'll tell you why. His burst healing with the bubbles can be really effective if let's say your tank does something dumb and they need a really quick burst heal. Outside of Adam Warlock, I think, and a Lunar ult maybe, and a Mantis ult, I think for a non-ultimate ability, the bubbles are really good for burst healing. I think the jet stream is kind of crappy. The healing speed is not great. His damage is good. I will say that. His damage is real good. But he is kind of just an ult machine. He's kind of like an anti-dive ult machine, and that's it. He's really good at escaping. You know, he's got the dive to constantly move around. But what value are you really getting from that? If you're spending your entire time underwater, just trying to escape from being dove, you're not actually providing any output to the team. You're not healing your tanks. You're not healing your DPS. Because all you're doing is running away from people and diving on you all the time. His effectiveness comes solely, in my opinion, from his ultimate. Which we all know Jeff's ultimate. We all know how good it can be. It can be game winning, right? If you get it at the right time, if you hit it just before the overtime, or, you know, you take out a whole team, you can solo win a game just off one ultimate. But people are getting much, much better at avoiding it. And much, much better at delta splitting as soon as they hear it, you know? I do think it's kind of dumb that he's allowed to suicide off with no counterplay. In my opinion, if they were going to tweak it, I don't think he should be allowed to just suicide. I think he should be able to throw people off, but there should be an ability to try and counterplay it, right? He already gets a lot of value from just swallowing people up and allowing the rest of your team to push forward or take control of a certain area. So that's already good in and of itself. And then being able to throw people off the map for instant kills is good, but you need to allow people to counterplay. I think the suicide strat is dumb as shit, and it should be removed from the game. But apart from that, I don't really think Jeff offers a lot. He's kind of, I mean, he definitely can't solo heal, And he just doesn't... He's more of a damage strategist. He doesn't really provide enough healing to justify taking him over anyone else. He is cute and he is amazing and he is a poster child for the game and he's got incredible skins, but as a utility character, I just don't think he's very good. Come at me in the comments, I'm sure. Loki. Now, this might be a little controversial. I don't know how people feel about Loki. I actually think Loki is A tier. There could be some argument made for even more, but I actually think Loki is A tier. His domain healing is insane. And yes, you can burst the crystal down quickly, so it doesn't last that long. But if the Loki's positioned well, it is insanely difficult to deal with him. His clones make it so that you can never really go on a Loki. A good Loki, you can never really go on them. The second you try and dive on them, and I'm saying this because I'm a backline DPS player, right? I play a lot of things like Black Panther Magic, things like that. I loathe playing against a good Loki because you can never fully dive them before they can get their switch off if they know what they're doing. So I think he's incredibly good against dive characters. His healing output, especially with the clones up, is nuts. His domain expansion, wherever they call it, I think that's the name. The E is crazy. And the utility of having a stealable ultimate is really good. Because if you're coordinating... I think he's a healer that needs coordination. If you're solo queuing, I think Loki is really tough. Because he works so much better when you can communicate and coordinate with your team, right? But the ability to, like, not only choose to copy for his ultimate copy an enemy character, but you can copy an allies. So you could double up on any powerful ults, right? You could, for example, let's say you're facing a lot of really powerful ultimates on the other team. Say like Moon Knight, Groot, Jeff, any of these really big ultimates. You could turn into a Luna, and you could pop a Luna ult as Loki, and then have your Luna pop her ult, and you have 24 seconds of pretty much guaranteed immunity in a team fight. Like, the utility of being able to not only double up any of your heroes, but any enemy heroes that are really good. You know, going into an Iron Man and suddenly blasting everyone as an Iron Man. There is so much skill expression with Loki. The only reason he's not higher, in my opinion, is because he takes a lot of skill. I think he is arguably the most skill expressive strategist out of all of them. I think he takes a lot to be good at. If you play with a good Loki, he can solo win a game very easily. He is incredibly annoying to try and pin down. He's just generally, and the invis as well. He has so many escape tools. I think he's really, really good. And I think a lot of people in low elo will not be able to use him well enough to justify it. But in high elo, he is insane, in my opinion. There's nothing much more to say on that, I think. I enjoy him a lot. He will probably be one of my mains moving forward. But he takes a lot of skill. I don't know if I've got it. Luna. I don't think there's any debate here. Luna is S tier. I don't think we can really argue with that, to be honest. I think she has everything you need in a support in this game. She has a very consistent and good heal. She has a way to self-peel with the freeze if you're getting dove on. She has even bigger burst healing with the clap. And just in case you are getting sent on by any ultimate, she has arguably, I think, the most broken ultimate in the game. I think the fact that it lasts 12 seconds is absolutely absurd. And I cannot believe it's not being nerfed in Season 1. It's so beyond... And not just that, but how quickly she gets it. Luna, if you play Luna even remotely well, she consistently gets the highest healing numbers. She has a very quick ultimate to charge. So you are guaranteed to have an ultimate for every big team fight. Which means if you're playing against a good Luna on the other team, you either have to waste your ultimates to bait out her ult, and then you can fight on top of that. Or you just have to, like, waste a bunch of ultimates every team fight, knowing that she's going to pop it. And then as soon as she pops it, she has 12 seconds of essential immunity, right? I think Hawkeye can one-shot her in ult, and maybe Iron Man can if it's directly on top of her. But I don't think anyone else... Correct me if I'm wrong in chat. Like, if you guys know of any other counters, let me know. As far as I'm aware, it's pretty much a invincibility button at this point with the amount that it heals and for your team. And the control it allows you to have for 12 seconds is insane. It's ridiculous. I also think her little snowflake, I can't remember the ability's name, I apologize off the top of my head, but the fact that she can heal one other person consistently while she's healing whoever she's focused on is really good for things like if you're playing an Iron Man, which can sometimes be hard to target as a Luna because they're moving a lot and they're flying a lot. You just pop that on them and heal everybody else, and you're going to heal them by proxy. Pop it on a tank, heal the other tank, bam, easy. I think she is insanely broken, and she's pretty much permabanned at high level for good reason. I am amazed that she's not getting enough. Mantis. Again, I think Mantis is S tier. I love playing Mantis. She's going to be one of my mains for sure. The movement speed alone is insane. I think movement speed in these type of games is very underrated and is very, very strong. Her DPSing ability is ridiculous. I think she has the highest DPS potential out of any support, I think. Yes, even more than Cloak and Dagger. Having a damage boost is really nice. I believe is it 12% off the top of my head? I don't know the exact number. But I think her damage boost is insane. If you have it on yourself, I have gone against Mantises that have dropped 30, 40 kills in a game while still being really effective at healing. Because her healing is kind of a set it and forget it, right? You can throw it on someone and then you can spend, like, instead of someone like a Luna where you have to stand there and you have to either clap or you have to keep firing on a... You can, as a Mantis, you can throw it on your tank and you can run past that shit and you can start DPSing and just randomly throwing life orbs. Because the way her life orbs function, the more headshots you get, the more life orbs you get. So you can just weave in between and go for a full DPS fucking Mantis. I think her ultimate is a shitter Luna ult, but is still effective at negating a lot of problems. It's just a much shorter cooldown. I think the movement speed is kind of nice. But the way I view it is it's just kind of a worse Luna ult, but it's still very effective. And her sleep is insane. If you can hit your sleeps, you have amazing self-peel and kill potential. The amount of times I've killed a Magic or a Black Panther diving on my asshole, and then you just sleep him, 2-3 tap him in the head, done. The game is over. You can sleep people out of ultimates as well. I just think she's incredibly effective support slash... I would almost put her as like a pseudo DPS at this point if you play her right. She can output a ton of healing, so you know you can still be very effective as a healer. But the DPS options that she offers, I think, are incredibly, incredibly strong. She is definitely my favorite support, and she's so hard to hit as well. Like, you're just zooming around this battlefield with your move speed and just constant DPS. She can out duel pretty much any DPS apart from Hela and Hawkeye, because obviously they're busted as fuck. I would argue that if you play it right, you can out duel pretty much any DPS in the game with Mantis. She's nuts. She's absolutely nuts. I don't think there's an argument that she's an S tier. Rocket. Rocky. Have I missed one? Or are we good? Magneto. Oh no, I thought there were more. Why do I think there were more? Rocket, Sunshine. I'm sorry, that's a bait. Izabi. I actually really like Rocket, and I had a lot of fun playing him when I was learning him for this challenge. He is quite comp reliant. I should also say, sorry, I did forget to mention that actually Luna Snow's, one of the other reasons she's the best in the game is her team-ups are absolutely insane. Her team-ups are fucking disgusting. So that's when I say that Luna has everything, that's why, right? The team-ups as well are insane. I don't think Cloak and Dagger's team-up is very good. It's meh. And the reason I brought that up now is Rocket's team-up is really solid. As a Punisher or Winter Soldier, particularly I would argue as a Winter Soldier, not having to reload every 3 shots, you can just go to town. So I think his team-up is very, very good. But obviously it's quite static, right? So it's really good for like control points because you can just set up in a certain place. I think it's a bit harder on payload maps to utilize really well. I think Rocket's mobility is really good. It helps with anti-dive. His healing is just slow, right? You can hit that shit from fucking halfway across the map. The range on it is outrageous, but it's very slow healing. And the reason I put him in B is because I feel like in this game, the damage flow is very flip-floppy. Way more so than Overwatch, right? It's much less about like consistent. There's a lot more burst in this game. Burst damage from divers, burst damage from pokers, like Moon Knight, Hello Hawkeye. So having this very slow methodical heal is great over time, but it doesn't help with those big burst heals you need at a time of crisis, right? But because you can do it from really effective range, he can actually be quite... Over the course of the game, he outputs incredible healing numbers. You know, arguably some of the best healing numbers out of any of them. But it's just slow and methodical, right? I think here, as I said, his mobility is nice. The armor is nice, like having an extra 25 HP. But you don't really use it for that. The res is kind of cool. But it's a one-time use on a quite long cooldown. So while it's great for getting back in the fight, you arguably would get that. I don't know. I think that's probably the best part of his kit, honestly, is probably the res. I think his ultimate is very effective. I think it's, what, 40% damage boost, I think. So it is an insane damage boost. And it's quite hard to take down. So I do think his ultimate is very, very good utility. But I just don't see Rockets having nearly as much of an impact. I think his damage is also not bad. But in order to do that damage, you kind of have to put yourself in a bad spot, which he does have the mobility to get in and out of. So I was almost playing him as like, you know, this kind of dueling backline. You know, people would dive on me and I would just dash. I would wall run away, pop out some of my healing bubbles to keep me going while I'm dueling. And then he can duel quite effectively. He can do quite good damage. But I just don't think he offers as much in the team play as other supports. He is very fun though. I enjoy him quite a lot. I don't know. I just feel like I don't feel his impact as significantly as the other supports. And I think he's, in order to utilize that team up, obviously, you know, you have to have the Punisher and Winter Soldier to make that part of his kit effective. Otherwise, you know, obviously you don't get it. I kind of feel like he's a bit less impactful than the other spots, but I do still really like him. So there you have it, guys. That is my Vanguard. That is my strategist tier list. Let me know what you think. If you agree or disagree with anything, let me know in the comments. Let's keep it nice and civil. As I said, this is just my opinion from what I've played over this last month. Having played every single hero, this is just how I feel about them. And if you want to check out how I feel about any of the other heroes, go and check out my other tier lists. And make sure you subscribe while you're there. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.